All right, so we are heading to go check out my buddy Neil, and he's going to apparently put me through a very light workout. I don't know what that entails, but I just basically told him to treat me like one of his clients. So I don't know what's in store, but we're gonna find out. What's up?
Cameron. Hey, dude.
How you doing, man?
Doing
good to meet you, bud.
Yeah, you
good
too.
to be here.
Okay, like if you were to do a squat right now, can I see a squat real quick?
Just like this.
Okay, not bad. Now I want you to do it. I want you to do it again. It's okay if I touch your knee?
Yeah.
All right, so I want you to do it again. I want to put you push out against my finger with your knee. Push out, harder. Yes, there you go.
Okay.
Now down lower. Get down lower. Boom, now come up. Boom, that's it. That's how I want you to squat, okay?
So to push out the knees, what is that about?
What that's gonna do is it's gonna allow your hips to come closer to your heels.
Okay.
So if you look at the difference, so if my hips are back here, see how I have to be pitched forward?
Right.
Right, so if I bring my hips closer and knees out, I'm able to stay more upright.
Okay, good, okay.
So now I'm gonna have you warm up on our friend, the assault bike.
Exciting.
Okay? This is my favorite piece of workout equipment.
Why?
Because it can be awful or awesome, and both at the same time.
Great.
It's great, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so we're just gonna do 3 minutes on that. So you're gonna use your arms and your legs.
Okay.
3 minutes, just like
3
that.
minutes,
Yep. We're just
okay.
doing a general warm up. 3:20. Yeah, that's good. You feel warmed up?
Yeah, I feel good.
All right, cool.
Okay, what
so
am I putting
you're
on
gonna
here?
get underneath it. Oh, we're not putting anything
just
on.
going straight bar?
Yeah, we're going bar, man.
I like your style, Chief.
You need to prove yourself before you put weight on there. All the way underneath it with your body. Yep, there you go. And then you're gonna stand up. Perfect. Step away, 1, 2. Yep, that's good right there.
Okay.
And then you're going to send the hips back and down as you push the knees out. Good. Nice, Cameron. Dude, that's solid. Beautiful. 1, 2. See, that's the whole thing when it's tough. It's tough for the first day because I don't know where you're at.
Yeah, you're getting a feel for somebody. Right?
Yeah, and I also don't want to like, oh yeah, you could probably do 225. Let's just throw that on there. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
you gotta prove that you can maintain good form, be safe.
Do you normally stop people off of squats, or is it more of kind of a feel it out?
Most people aren't as mobile as you. I would usually not let somebody do a barbell squat until they look good enough in an air squat. But I could tell very quickly that you were going to be fine.
Oh, cool.
5 of these, and then we'll call this exercise after that.
I'm probably going to cramp up.
I don't think you are.
I can already feel it in my hamstrings.
You need to learn how to talk to yourself better. So Romanian deadlift.
Okay.
What we're looking at, we did this kind of in the warm-up, but without weights.
Okay, all right.
So it was when I said we're here and you're sending the hips back in space.
Okay.
There's the key part to that is I'm not just bending over, okay? A lot of people think Romanian deadlift is just you doing this, but that's gonna really tax the back and cause, potential injury.
Okay.
What you're actually doing when you do Romanian deadlift, you're targeting your glutes and your hamstrings, not your back.
Okay.
Okay, and the way you do that is by, as you're going down, you want to be pushing your hips back. No matter how far you go down, send your hips back as you go down, keep them close.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and then stand back up. Good. You felt that pull?
Yeah.
Good. It's too squatty, too much squatty.
Right there.
Here you go. Yes.
That's an interesting work because you want to stretch, you want to squat, you want to bend, you want to do. It's hard to just focus on one thing.
Adductors are the muscles in your leg that pulls towards you. Abductors are the ones that pull away.
Good. Okay.
You work a little bit of both with the side lunges,
but
specifically your abductors.
Okay. So just
this is
step
a side
out.
lunge. Yep, and then go down.
Ooh.
Nice, and then push back to center. Good.
All right. So
That's solid. Yep.
Hi-ya.
What you'll see a lot of times when people do it, again, the mobility thing, it's not strength that stops people from doing these exercises. Oftentimes it's mobility. So when you go here, what you'll see is a lot of people will angle their foot out, or you'll see them pitch really far forward. And it's okay to pitch a little bit forward, but just like we talked about with the regular squat, you want to try to remain as much upright as possible.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
But it looks good, so I'm good with giving you weight.
Score.
3, good. Try to stay a little more upright with the chest.
Got it.
Yes, there you go. Nice, Cameron.
Now
Good. And then 4 on the other side.
Okay. So Metcon.
Metabolic conditioning.
Exciting.
AKA cardio with weights. The ball slams, I'll show you in a second. That's going to be with your core, with your stretch reflex, all kinds of good stuff there, and specifically your power. So you're gonna come up here and you're going to slam the ball down.
Exciting. I'm glad you don't have downstairs neighbors.
Let's get it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Hard effort.
Hard effort? It's got blood.
Not a sprint, but a hard effort. This first round will feel easy. That's the point. Good. Hard. Go. Keep going.
I like how it bounces.
Go. Good. Continuous movement. Knees out. Drive. Yep. So this should feel tough. It will get tougher. But we have one more round after this one finishes. 5 seconds. Nice, Cameron. Good. 5 seconds. Doing awesome, brother. Keep it going. Last one, best one.
Is that what they say?
That's what they say. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
I'm gonna take a... That's enough. Thank you. What do you say we head back to the studio and have a little chat?
Let's do it, man.
I'd love to, man.
To it.
Thanks.
Brother.
What's up, man? Thank you. Thank you for being here. This is really exciting. I'm really super excited that you're here with us.
Yeah, man.
And you're the first guest on RealTOC, so this is really exciting stuff. Just thank you,
I'm honored, man. I'm honored. Thanks so much for having me, brother.
Yeah, good. So I guess we can just start where I try to start most conversations. Where are you from?
I'm from SoCal. So SoCal is Southern California, right? I don't know why I said that. Like, you probably already knew that, but I always go from like a macro to a micro. So California, right? What part of California? Southern California. What part of Southern California? San Diego. So San Diego County, depending on how much someone knows about the area, then we'll go even further. And a city called Vista is where I'm actually from. Vista, California.
Vista, California. And
yeah.
Okay, well, how long were you in Vista, California?
Man, I was there for 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah. I basically up until I joined the Army and they sent me to Missouri, for basic training.
So 22 years. What did you do in SoCal for 22 years?
A lot of beach and a lot of exercise.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
You look like you need some exercise. By the way, thank you for absolutely smoking me the other day.
Oh, it was fun, right?
No. I mean,
fun.
yes, it was fun, but the next day wasn't great, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, that 4 minutes will get easier and easier every time.
God, thanks, Mom. Every time. Well, okay. So in SoCal, what did you do? Were you a beach guy?
Yeah. So beach all the time. Like it was pretty much our like default hangout. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, where did you grow up?
Not at the beach.
Yeah.
I grew up on a dirt road.
Okay.
in middle Georgia.
So you probably like when you're hanging out with friends and you didn't know what to do or didn't have plans of something to do, you had like a default spot that you'd go to. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like
gotcha. Yeah.
Maybe on that side of the dirt road or whatever.
True. Yeah. You're right.
So
it was that side of the dirt road specifically.
For us, it was the beach. So I was like, oh, what are you doing after school? I don't know. You want to go to the beach? What are you doing this weekend? I don't know. You want to meet at the beach? It was also a date spot. It was everything spot. Specifically went there very often with my cousin, who's my best friend. Yeah, we just did everything together. So he was a surfer. The next question I know would be, oh, Neil, did you surf? No, I was not a surfer. It was not good.
Got it.
But I looked like I could be. I had the long hair, had the long blonde hair. I had, a little bit of the cut bod. And so you give me a surfboard and it's like, dude, 100% that guy surfs, but I was not good.
So you could have just carried one around and made it on like Abercrombie.
Yeah. I actually just carried the surfboard to the beach. I parked it and then just sat there. Yeah. No,
just putting the vibes out.
Yeah.
I like your style.
No, my cousin actually did teach me or try to teach me how to surf. And I've stood up, but like, it's hard to call it surfing when you're in whitewash in the waves. You know what I'm saying?
I guess.
Yeah.
I would call it that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, look at me, buddy. I'm surfing.
Yeah. Well, I guess I surfed then. I guess I surfed.
Yeah, you surfing, man. Congratulations. Proud of you.
Yeah. It was fun though, man. But really what I would do at the beach is we would hang out, play whatever kind of games, whether it be, I don't know, there's all kinds of different like beach games, right? A lot of times it could be football or soccer or like hit something with a paddle, whatever. But it was just basically being there and being able to fall, you know, pretty hard and not hurt yourself because it's sand. Because well, you're not falling for too high, obviously. And then we would run, we would be in the water, dude. It's just like it's just what we did.
So you say your best friend is your cousin. Does that mean your cousin is your best friend or your best friend?
Both.
Both.
You tried to trick me there for a second. That's
Not
definitely
me, dude.
that's definitely the same thing. He was my cousin first.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
and then he became my best friend.
Okay.
And we actually have like a tiered system that we came up with, where it's like, okay, you have friends, right? And the next level is best friends, right? Or, you know, your friend group, best friend. And then you have your brother, like brothers, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have the cousins, and we call ourselves the cousins.
I dig that. Sounds like that's it would have been a good album cover. Surfboards and parked in the sand.
Yeah.
Just the cousins.
The cousins. I like that.
Yeah.
If I had any musical talent whatsoever, maybe I would.
I'm full of terrible ideas, man. Hang in there. So beaching in SoCal.
Yeah.
And you just loved.
And snowboarding too.
And
Love
snowboarding?
Oh yeah.
In the ocean?
Cool thing about Southern California is you are 4 hours from snow, desert, and 15 minutes from the beach where I was. But yeah, you get it all, man. So we would go snowboarding pretty regularly once I got into my like higher teen years.
I love snowboarding. I actually do love snowboarding.
Oh, dude, it's so much fun. I always say the most adrenaline rush that I ever got was going like full speed down a mountain on a snowboard and galloping on a horse.
Wow. We're best friends, bro.
You galloped? Can't
wait to make it to cousin level. This is awesome. So you said you hung out at the beach and you worked out. You and your cousins just kind of worked out. When you say like worked out, what made y'all want to do that? How did you get into it? What made you?
Dude, so we kind of just love it. He was a runner he did soccer and then he became a runner very early age. I always aspired to be in the military, specifically because of where I was in the strong recruiting campaign there, the Marine Corps. So I knew, and then my whole family too was military. I shouldn't say whole family. My two grandfathers, and then my stepdad, who's been with me since I was 3. So just consider him my dad as well. All military. And so there's just a heavy influence there. And knowing that I wanted to like live up to, and it wasn't anything that he really like put on me, but I wanted to live up to a standard. I wanted to live up to the expectations that I had for myself through what I saw them do and them accomplish. And I felt like the only way to do that was to join the military. And so I knew from a very young age, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a Marine officer, maybe special forces. I don't know, like, you know, whatever as a kid you see on the movies. Yeah. So and that's been in the back of my mind of like, you know, I know you need to be fit and you need to have a commanding presence. But that wasn't the main driver for exercise. Like I just genuinely loved it. And my cousin, like I said, he was a runner. We were fortunate to live really close to each other, about a mile, maybe a mile and a half. And so oftentimes like during summer break, like I want to say 4 days out of the week, one of us was running to the other person's house. We would do a workout there or just hang out. And then we would run back or we would go to the beach. Right. But it was just like, dude, it was just awesome. It was so cool having him that close and you know, just, it was a regular part of life that we were just exercising for fun and we just liked hanging out with each other. That's what we did.
Do you think that you would have had the same love for exercising and working out if it weren't for your cousin? Like, would you have found it on your own?
I actually hadn't thought about that. I think definitely I would have. I don't think it would have been nearly as frequent. And I definitely would have stayed away from running because I hated running.
Yeah.
But that was his thing. And so I enjoyed doing it with him, you know, and I actually have something like that now. I still not the biggest fan of running, but I have a friend who I just want to hang out with. And the only time that I get to hang out with them is if we're going for a run. And so I run because of that. And so that's kind of a cool thing.
What was it like in your house? Like growing up, like what was it like as a kid? What were you like?
Active.
Active.
Very active. We did triathlons as a family.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool. My mom and stepdad would always be outside, either paddleboard, going to the beach.
Got it.
Or just whatever. It was outside. And like there was a rule in our house that if the sun is up, that you're outside. And if I was ever inside, like if I got to be inside during the day, like playing video games or whatever, stupid, whatever I wanted to do, then it was like a huge treat for me that I got to do that. But I'm really thankful that that wasn't a normal thing, because it caused me to have to use my brain, be creative, find fun things to do, and also just being active, which is something that I feel like is missing for a lot of kids nowadays, and it's to their detriment.
How do you think?
That's to their detriment?
Yeah.
Man, if you're moving, I mean, we can go multiple different ways on this. For one, the just movement for kids is so important. I mean, for everybody, it's so important, but even at an early age to like foster that so that it becomes like the normal thing. Also, like I said, the creativity, like if you were just watching a screen or even like playing video games, like you're dulling the creative part of your brain, because you're not having to come up with solutions, come up with ideas of like how to play and have fun and all that. Right. So that's part of it. When you're a kid, it's not really like the caloric expenditure, but that's kind of how I think about it as an adult, is when you're active and moving and always doing things, you are burning more calories, and you need to then, intake those calories in order to have that maintenance. And so being in a routine of just constantly moving and being active, you're going to take that into your adulthood. So yeah, I think it's a huge missed opportunity when kids sit inside, look at screens all day.
Speaking of that, do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one brother and one sister.
One brother, older, younger?
So both younger. My sister is 5 years younger than me, and my brother is 10 years younger than me. They're from different. So my sister is from my mom and my stepdad, and my brother is from my dad and my stepmom.
And you guys all lived under the same house?
No.
Okay. I was like, that's a lot.
That would have been awful. No,
interesting. So
no.
So what was the home dynamic like when you were growing up?
Got divorced when I was 3.
Okay.
And I was young enough to where it wasn't super devastating, but then as I got older, go into one home and then the other, I'm sure it had an impact on me as a kid. I just didn't realize it, but I would say things like, 'cause I had a favorite home, where I had more freedom. I had my friends. This was my mom and my stepdad's home.
Okay.
I had more freedom, had more friends. I kind of genuinely had more fun there, and I spent more time there as well. And I would say, I would let my dad know that. And as a kid, I'm just like speaking my mind, doesn't matter. But as an adult, like that was something that was really hard to, come back to terms with, of like how just cold I was to him. It made me feel really bad. He's forgave me a long, long time ago, but like I had to forgive myself for that first, because I just didn't treat him the way he deserved, and felt really bad about it. But yeah, so going from different homes, wasn't too bad, but I'm sure it had an impact. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, do you think the strife with your dad, you call him your dad?
Yeah.
You think the strife with
my dad, actually.
You think the strife with your dad was more along the lines of you just chalking it up to like just teenage angst? Or do you think that there was something there that you guys just didn't understand about each other?
Absolutely that one. He has always been an amazing man of God.
Okay.
And tried to raise me under those like wholesome principles. And has made a lot of sacrifices for me and, done a lot for me that I never saw as a kid. And because I didn't get like the short-term satisfactions of, more presence or like the freedoms, those kinds of things that you think matter. That is why I liked the other home, being at the other home more, right? And chose to be there more. And I'm sure that is really tough for him, but that was the main thing. Like, since I have accepted Christ and changed the way I live my life, our relationship has skyrocketed. Like, we are extremely close. I go to him as a spiritual mentor, and like a marriage mentor too, for me and my wife. And he's just, he's an amazing man. And I didn't appreciate him the way that I should have when I was younger.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
Kind of have to grow into it, I guess.
Yeah. It's like I said, it took a second for me to forgive myself because I was just a kid, but, I just would have made a lot of different choices now, having the perspective I do.
No kidding. So when did you realize that, at what point in your life did you realize that you had strained that relationship? Like where were you when you were like, oh my God, I was kind of a jerk?
Recently?
Yeah,
man. Yeah, probably. Like I said, when I accepted Christ and really started moving towards that direction of my life. So like 6-7 years ago. And dude, you did that. I was like, what are you doing,
man?
Oh man. I just recently learned what that was too. I would have been so confused if I didn't know.
It only did it to lead it into the fact that we're both dads.
Yeah.
And we're both girl dads. We were talking about that.
Dude.
And it really gets a hold of me. And I kind of was trying to figure out a way to throw it back together. So we were talking about handshakes earlier.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and you say that you got a special handshake with your daughter. And I was telling you how I have a kind of a special handshake with my daughter.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, we're not going to give out, there's a secret. I'm not going to tell you the handshake. No questions, please. But what's funny to me is that it's not funny, but it's an interesting thing to have the relationship with our parents that we do.
Yeah.
And then when we have kids, we look back on all of those things and we're like, wow. So when you became a dad,
yeah,
how did all of those perspectives come to you?
I would say, obviously how we were raised and how we went through those experiences will shape, our actions and how we end up being. But it's more so for me, the understanding, and it's true with a son too, but just in different ways. But the understanding of, I am the greatest influence that my daughter will ever have in her life. And that is not just because of how I raise her, but like, even if I was completely absent, I would still be the greatest influence in her life and how she would turn out. There's
That's heavy.
Incredible book called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard it?
I have.
You read it?
I haven't read it, but I know it.
Man, one of my friends sent it to me as soon as he found out I was going to be a girl dad. And it was just like such a strong book. And she's like, read this, like just read this. And I did. And, man, the impact that you have on your daughter's life is greater than any other relationship she will ever have. And like I said, whether you're the greatest father in the world or the worst father in the world, it's such a strong predictor of who she becomes. And so having that, understanding that, and gladly carrying that weight, I am very calculated in my decisions that I make with her, and they're very different from how I thought I would raise a kid and how I was raised. Like one that's, I don't know if it's controversial, but people might think it's extreme. We're not doing sleepovers.
No.
Nope.
Just cutting that out.
Absolutely not.
Why?
The record, or like the statistics show the chance that a kid is sexually harassed or assaulted, just, or like, you know, any kind of like molestation, any of that stuff. We're getting deep here now, but is so high during sleepovers because of older brothers, weird uncles, like, or it doesn't have to be that stereotype, but like it really is like you don't know who all is going to be at that other house. And so we just made a decision, my wife and I, that like it's not worth the risk. Our child's innocence is not worth that. We'll take the upset at us for parenting a certain way. Like, I don't care. You can be upset with me. Like, that's fine. I'm going to protect you. You know, it's so like, that's like one of many decisions that I didn't think I would make that we've made.
Do you ever think about your dad having made some decisions that he made and how there's a comparison there where you just made a decision for no freedoms or?
Dude, yes. I'm so much stronger on the side of how my dad would have raised me if he had me full time, than how I was raised.
Interesting.
Make some, very different decisions.
But you did say that he's more like a mentor to you, as you know, fathering and marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
What did he think when you finally made the decision to join the military?
So my stepdad's the one that's in the military.
Okay.
He is not. My dad's not. I think that he knew it was coming because, like I said, at a young age, I always said that's what I was going to do. I did my junior exposition, I think, like junior year of high school, like on a certain career, you know, like just research it and talk about it and whatnot. I did that on being a Marine officer. And so it didn't come as a surprise to him. I think he had years to prepare for it. I don't think it's what he would have, chosen for me, but I know that he is extremely proud of me. He's told me multiple times, extremely proud of me and the man that I've become. And because I did choose that, that he believes it's just, you know, God's going to have his way and his will, so long as I'm open to it and, working towards that. So he was fine with it. Yeah. It wasn't like a, oh yay.
Right.
But it wasn't like a, oh crap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what parents in general think about their kid going to the military. Because my dad was the one that kind of led me to the door. And he was like, not the door of the house, like he's kicked me out, but he led me to the point where he was like, "What have you thought about doing this?" And I was like, "Yeah." So, well,
and it's such a good career.
It's
such a good career.
There's parts of it that are pretty awesome.
If you make it, so like,
it's true.
There is definitely and you know this, right? I'm talking more for everybody else. Like, there's definitely a chance of it being better, or it could be better, or it could be worse. Also, you know, what branch you join, what time, and what job you have. Those are all factors in the chance. But largely, if you want to make it awesome, it can be awesome.
So what did you originally want to do in the military?
I wanted to be a Marine officer. That was it. That's all I knew. I was like, Marine officer, whatever I do, I'll do that. And so my story is that when I was in community college or junior college, community college after
samesies.
Yeah. I was part of the OCS program, and like was getting ready to, right after I graduated, become a Marine officer, just like I planned. And I was on track to do so. I was doing good with the PT tests. I was, just ready to go. And then right before I joined, I had done MEPS. I had done all of it, right? Like I was ready to go.
You're in pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had ASVAB, all that. Anyways, probably a couple weeks before, or maybe it was a couple months before I was getting ready to graduate and become a Marine officer. he gave me a form to fill out that I already filled out, but I filled it out again for whatever reason. And I answered honestly on a certain question that got me disqualified. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, this is a legal thing. Why is it? He's like, yeah, you're disqualified. You're terminated. You're never going to be in the military.
Can I ask what it was?
I don't know if it was something that's legal, but it wasn't, they didn't like it. It was something that like gave me questionable character, I think.
Interesting. I didn't know you were signing up for the CIA.
Yeah, it was very serious. So yeah, they did that. I got terminated. I was crying. You know, my dreams since I was a young kid, were taken away. And after I got done crying, I was so terrified to tell my dad. I don't know if I can say, maybe I can say it was. Yeah.
Understandable.
But it was legal, so I didn't get it. But yeah, so I told the truth, and they terminated me and said that I would never be an officer, never be in the Marine Corps or any of that stuff. I'd never be in the military, they told me. And so, yeah, I was terrified to tell my dad. And I ended up taking him to pho, because that was like our lunch spot that we really enjoyed together. And he knew something was up. And like I said, this is my stepdad that I'm telling.
Okay,
actually.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
You call them both dads, so I got to keep up.
I do.
Yeah.
I know. I got to clarify. Man, he's strict. Like, he was really strict.
Yeah.
And he would hammer, and this is what he would say: I hammer the little things, and I'm there for you on the big ones.
Yeah.
And he would hammer me on little things. Like, I'm just real quick story. He left for 4 days, and I was at home, doing whatever, doing my kid thing. And when he came home, he got so upset with me that I didn't roll the hose up in the backyard. And I was like, Dad, I didn't unroll the hose in the backyard. He said, yeah, I know, I did. I left it there to see if you would do anything about it. And you didn't. And I got in big trouble for that. So, like, small things, right? But there's so many good lessons there. But we'll go back to the story.
Take your time.
Yeah. I'm like, but there's so much context, and like,
yeah, plenty.
who he was and whatnot. But I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it now, because it taught me some really valuable lessons that I've taken with me into my leadership roles, in various units and responsibilities in the military. But going back to the story, so I was terrified to tell him. I ended up telling him, and he's like, "Okay, so what are you going to do now?" And that was it. There was no punishment. There was no guilt, shame, any of that. It was just, I'm here with you. Let's move on. And it was like the biggest relief. I don't know if I cried. I laughed, cried, maybe. I don't know. But so I ended up joining the Army from there. Or I actually was going to enlisted Marine Corps and tried to go that route. And where I was, the CrossFit gym that I was at, there was like 6 different Marines there, because it was right next to Camp Pendleton. Right. And like, well, there was more than 6, but there was 6 of my friends that were Marines there. And every single one of them said, don't join the Marine Corps. It was like being told Santa Claus wasn't real. I was devastated.
So why? What were their reasons?
Because of the less, at least, obviously based off of their experience, I'm sure there's people that had a good experience. But they said, knowing who I am, it would take away part of who I am, and they didn't want to see that happen. I guess like the joyfulness and like carefreeness about me. I don't know exactly, but they didn't want that taken away. And then also the opportunities of joining one of the other branches, specifically the Army, were much greater. And there was one thing they said that really got to me. And I hope that for my Marine Corps brethren out there, appreciate what you do. This is not against you, but he said that, and this was true for me. People join the Marine Corps. And he was a tough dude in the Marine Corps, but he said people join the Marine Corps because of the sexy uniforms, because they want to have sex with women, or because they want to prove something to their daddy. I was like, that is rough. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't fit me at all. And so then he kind of showed me the different opportunities, and I ended up I'm making a long story long, but I ended up going to the Army recruiting office, and on that paperwork, I just didn't tell the truth on that one part. And I got in just fine, went through, and then I was, enlisted in the Army. I graduated college, and then 3 weeks later, I shipped out to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
So what did you choose as your job? I mean, coming off of, there's a lot of information.
I know, man.
So so devastated.
Yeah, man.
Right? You finally go to your stepdad, and he was super cool about it. He didn't even leave the hose unwound this time on you.
No, he did not.
Kind of him. So went and checked with your stepdad, and he's like, what are you going to do now? And you decided Army. So where was that switch in your brain where you had to figure out, you had built an entire life with a sexy uniform and proven things to your dad, right? So once those things were gone, how did you cope with going into the Army as a second choice? And then what was your decision to choose the job you chose?
So the plan for my friends that I was talking to in the Marine Corps was for me to go Green Beret. And I wasn't against it, but I was like, I don't know if I love that right off the get-go. I want to see if, before I invest a bunch into the Army, I want to see if it's even something that I am okay with or that I want to do. And so that was the part of the thing that really pulled me to the enlisted, was because you got to pick your job before you signed anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I already knew that I had the brawn, so to speak. I liked exercising a lot. And I had muscles or whatever. So I was like, I don't want to do anything that's super physical. I want to do something that's going to challenge me mentally. So I went Intel, and specifically intelligence analysts. And that's why I chose that.
Did you find it hard to fit in with some of the people, because you'd come from such a secluded community with your friends and your cousins and the beach? What was it like integrating into an intelligence mindset, coming from your actual love of just exercise and working out and being around those types of people?
I was the odd one out in the best way from very early on. Also, I was 22. Yeah. I was 22 when I joined, not 18, as most I shouldn't say most, but a lot of enlisted folks are, right? So I had the age, I had the size, and I differentiated myself immediately. I used that as like a leadership thing. And I always say, like, when you're going for like your career in the military, there's 4 things. Oh, I hope I don't mess this up. But there's 4 things that help you out. So you have 1, are you good at your job? Like, are you good at your actual MOS, military occupational specialty? 2, do you have a commanding presence? Do you have confidence about you? Right? 3, can you brief? Can you speak to people? I mean, that's kind of a combination of the commanding presence, but like being able to actually articulate a certain situation that's going on, or why you believe a certain thing should be a thing. And then the leadership the fitness. Army cares a lot about, a lot about fitness.
I noticed.
It's huge. So I had the fitness thing right off the bat. I had a commanding presence, confidence. I can speak. I feel very comfortable speaking to my higher ups, and I can articulate. I was not super smart at my job.
So 3 out of 4, baby. That'll get you in the Hall of Fame, though.
From the get go.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I set myself apart. And my weakness being the actual, which it's kind of silly that it's like my actual job is like the biggest weakness I have. But I would use the other 3 to help that one, in the sense that I would be asking for help often. Right? Like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, can you check out this? Hey, do you mind handling this while I, help with something else? Right? Because we're a team. We're, one team, one fight. And so that's kind of what I did.
It should be the fifth one.
It's the fifth one.
Being able to reach out when you don't know something.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part about all of that.
Is it?
I think it is. It's a lot of pride swallowing, a lot of people judging you.
Yeah,
Did you feel that way whenever you were?
That's something that my wife to this day is like kind of blown away about how I am. And that is just that I really don't care what other people think about me. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. The only people that I care is like, am I being a good representation of the Lord? Am I being a good representation of, my family and whatever the things that I care about? But aside from what somebody might think about me, other than that, as long as I'm doing what's right ethically and morally, then I don't really care. That says a lot more about them than it does about me.
Hear that? Yeah.
And so, and I also have been in rooms where I want to ask the question, but I don't want to feel, like you said, I want to ask a question, but I don't want to be the dumb one. And then someone else says what I'm thinking, and I'm like, man, if they felt the same way I did, that would be a missed opportunity for everybody to learn.
Yeah.
Because how many times have you been in a briefing or something and someone says something and everyone's like, oh yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. If everybody didn't say anything, there would be a lack of communication, which is one of the most key things.
Which is a breakdown on your second point of 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were bad at your job. I'm kidding. What was your time in the Army like? You had the other 3 wrapped up. You clearly didn't love military intelligence.
Yeah.
How did you find what you were supposed to do?
I feel like that was 2 different questions. Let me go with the second one. How did I find what I was supposed to do?
Yeah.
What I'm supposed to do is be a light in whatever room that I'm in, and be able to improve the lives of the people around me. And I feel like regardless of whatever job you're doing, that's something that if you want to do and you're intentional about, you can do.
Love that.
I was very fortunate to, this is skipping a couple years now, but obviously it's a long story. But when I was in Korea, they blasted out an email to everyone in the Army. I don't know. Yeah, you were already out by this time, so you wouldn't have got that email.
You making fun of me?
You were already out. You said 2017.
Yeah.
But the email was like, hey, we are starting up the Army fitness team. It's called the Army Warrior Fitness Team now, but I think it was just the Army Fitness Team when they first blasted it out. We're looking for the fittest people in the Army. Apply if you feel like you could be part of this. You obviously have to have, good conduct and, show us your NCOERs, basically like your report card for the Army. And so they send all that stuff and, if you want to be part of this team. And so I was like, yeah, like that sounds like me for sure. And I was doing intel still in Korea at this time. So I sent it out and there was like 400 or so applicants, I think they said. And they didn't choose me. And I was so bummed. I was so bummed. I was like, but I know that I should be there. Like, I know that I have what it takes to at least make it to the next round. And so I had met somebody while I was in Korea at a CrossFit gym in Korea that was part of the decision-making process for that. And so I reached out to her and I was like, hey, you've seen like what I can do, like how fit I am. Do you think that this was a mistake? Like, should I say something? And she's like, yeah, absolutely do. I was like, okay, cool. That kind of gave me a little bit more confidence. And so
wind in your sail.
Sent the appeal. Yeah. Sent the appeal and I got the invite to come out to Kentucky and try out for the Army Warrior Fitness Team. And then they chose between 13 and 15. The reason I say that number, so there was the CrossFit component and the strongman component of the Army Warrior Fitness Team. So of the CrossFit component, there was 13 of us that they chose out of the 35 people that they brought to compete. And I was one of the 13.
Wow.
Yeah. And
did you ever figure out why they didn't choose you the first time?
Yeah, because I hadn't competed in any major or any competitions in that previous 2 years. Cause I was just doing
What kind of competitions?
like CrossFit competitions.
For the Army or just in general?
No, just in general. So like one of the things they asked was list any major competitions that you've been part of, what place you got, and then also what your open score was. I didn't compete in the open and I didn't compete in any competitions. But my appeal was, hey, I can snatch 275 pounds. I can walk on my hands for 150 meters. I can power clean 315. I can do this many muscle ups. Like I was just like, look, I'm fit enough to be part of this thing, I think. And so
I'm confident. I can communicate.
Yeah.
That's great. So
you had to sell yourself a little bit.
So what happened on that? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. So we flew to Kentucky. Everyone flew in from all over the place. I was obviously in Korea, so probably the furthest. But they were all over, the United States, and elsewhere. Flew us all in, and we competed in CrossFit. Like they had set up a certain amount, 4 or 5 events, and we competed against each other. And then they chose the people who they felt like one performed the best, but also had the greatest potential. And I didn't find out. I was on a flight back to Korea. And actually that's where I met my wife. That's another fun conversation. But I was on the flight back to Korea. And when I landed in Korea, 16 hours later is when I saw the invite to be part of the team. And man, it was like the greatest thing. So the reason that this does answer your question of like, how do I find what I'm supposed to do? Because dude, that was a dream job. That was a dream job. For 3 years of my Army career, I was paid to work out, travel the country, and speak to high school kids and in different fitness expositions about, why the Army is not just here's a gun, here's a helmet, go fight a war. Like there's so many different parts of the Army and in every branch of the military, but that people aren't aware of, specifically high school kids. Like a lot of them, they were shocked when they found out that we weren't living on base.
I would have been.
Yeah. And
like, what is this?
And that we could own a dog, that we could like basically live a normal life.
Normal things.
Yeah. A lot of kids like had no idea because, all they see is the wars on TV or they play their video games. They have no idea what it's like. Did
you like call your cousin? You're like, you're not going to believe this. I get to just like do what we did our whole lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely, I let him know. I don't know if it was that exact day, but it was very shortly after. And he was healthily jealous. Happy for me. But like that's ridiculous.
A little bit of jealousy is some fuel. You can't lie. Right.
Yeah, dude. It was so good.
So you're back in Korea.
Yeah.
You said you met someone?
Yeah. I met my wife. Not in Korea, but on the flight to Korea.
On the flight to Korea.
Yeah, man. So
you told me a piece of this when we were working out, and I wanted to wait so that you could tell me how this went down.
Yeah. So a little bit of context, because this was a God thing. Like, sure, I guess it can be a coincidence, but I choose to believe that it was meant to be, because as I was flying from Korea to Atlanta and then Kentucky to Atlanta and then Atlanta to Korea. She was here in Atlanta and flying from Atlanta to Korea and then Korea to Thailand. And she was supposed to be going on that trip a month earlier, but her work wouldn't let her off. And so she had to postpone the trip a month. And it just happened to be that we'd be on that same plane. And we weren't even sitting next to each other. We actually met in the back of the plane stretching. I saw her sitting there stretching, or standing there stretching. And
Why doesn't this ever happen to me? Come on, man.
I'm looking at the corner of my eye, and I'm like, dang, she cute. Like I gotta talk to her, right? Like I don't know, we're on a plane, but I'm gonna talk to her. Like at least give me a beautiful face to look at for a little bit of this time. And we ended up, I think I said something stupid like, no, I didn't say anything that stupid. First thing I said was like, man, it's crazy how people can sit on a 16-hour flight and not like get up and stretch, right? And she's like, yeah, totally. And then we ended up talking for an hour and a half straight, just about like deep stuff in life, like what is the the greatest resource that we have, and we both agreed it was time, which actually I changed my answer now. Now I think it's attention. We can go into that if you want to.
We will.
But yeah, so that was how we met. An hour and a half goes by, and the stewardess is like, y'all need to sit down. Or she didn't say it like that. She said it in her sweet little Korean voice. But
back off. We're
she's like, oh, take your seats, please. And I'm like, crap. Okay. And then because we weren't sitting next to each other. And so then we sat for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I'm going to go back there. And then I went back, and she wasn't there. And I'm like, all right, this is all in my head. I guess she doesn't, this is not going to be anything. It's just a fun hour and a half conversation, whatever. Then we were getting Alpha Flight. And I asked her, to exchange information, because I knew where she lived, general area, not specifics. But then, and she knew about the team tryouts and all that. And so when I found out that, I made the team, like she gave me a big hug.
Score.
And dude, it was right like, dude, I felt so good. I was like, this is the best hug ever. It felt so good, man. But then we maintained a little bit of contact, until I came back to the States, and then we did a long distance relationship.
Those are tough.
Yeah, it was rough, dude.
Those are really tough.
It was rough, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it.
Time versus attention.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So I have different beliefs that I hold in life, and one of them, like I said, is what is the most valuable resource? And I think a lot of people would agree that it's your time, right? It's definitely not money, because you exchange your time for everything. You exchange it for money, you exchange it for a deepened relationship, right? Like we're exchanging our time right now for this interaction, whatever this, the feelings that this has, or memories, whatever, all that comes with it. So you change your time for everything. But the reason I changed it is because it's really your attention. And this actually came from me, not necessarily from reading the book, but reading the book and then having my daughter and like spending time with her. Is you could be sitting there on the couch, spending time with her, and your attention can be on your phone.
It's very true.
Your attention can be on work. Your attention can be on something completely outside of what is right in front of you. And so that's why I think that it's actually your attention that's the most valuable resource.
I like that. I think that's something that we probably knew, but we never put it all together just like that. It makes total sense. You can give anything time. Yeah. If you give it your full attention, though, that really means something to you.
Yeah.
So where's your attention today?
Oh, wait, one more thing. I'm going to answer you. But that's also why we use the phrase pay attention, because you're paying it, right? So like,
makes sense.
But anyways, okay. What is on today? Yeah, man. My girls, all three of them, my wife, and then my two daughters, one that is 2 weeks old and one that is 2.5. So yeah, they get a lot of my attention. Also my business, there's a lot of attention put towards that. That's a tough balance. That's a really tough balance when you do most of your work at home. And they're also mostly, almost always at home, and trying to, find the balance of still getting what I need to done with work, but making sure that they know they're the most important thing in my life. So I would say that. And then recently I got on my own fitness program. And it sounds funny because once I stopped doing CrossFit competitively, I kind of was just like doing whatever. Right. And then I got to a point where I would like barely work out, 2-3 days a week, but I was still staying active doing other things, of course. Mm-hmm. But now I'm on an intentional program. My goal is to be able to bench press 225 30 times and do 30 pull-ups. And so I designed a program like I do for a lot of my clients. Mm-hmm. I designed one for myself, and I've been following that for a couple months now. It's been good.
Where you at?
I can do 20 at 225. And I can do 26 pull-ups. So the bench is definitely what needs to increase more.
Are you happy with the progression though?
I am. I'm actually really happy. I started with 16 and now I'm at 20. And then I just did 3 sets of 295, 3 sets of 3 reps at 295 today. So I felt really good about that.
So we talk about time versus attention and the fact that your girls mean so much to you.
Love them. Yeah.
And this is a question that I had to kind of figure out for myself too, but who are you without them? Who are you when you're by yourself? Do you have any alone time? Whenever you're by yourself, what do you try to find to do? What do you want?
What is alone time? I don't know.
I know.
No.
Yeah. That's a weird age too, because I didn't know either.
Well, right now there realistically isn't, because there's 2 of us and there's 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of us is always on one of them
right.
at some point. And yeah, trying to get sleep and all that. So it's, but it's very, very short season. But I would say first and foremost, I'm an unapologetic son of the Most High God.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one, always, no matter where I am, who's in my life, what I'm doing, that's always going to be number one. And like I said, that wasn't always the case growing up, but like, that's where we're at now. And so that's number one. And then number 2 is praying without them. I don't know. I think it would, that's weird to think. I don't want to think, what have you without them? Because that's my next hat.
It's a tough question to answer.
My next hat is husband.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's father.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I guess, son to my parents, brother to my community, my friends. And then, yeah, business owner. It's definitely a huge identity. I guess it would probably be fitness.
Yeah.
Fitness enthusiasts, if you will.
Do you think a lot of parents, we can talk like this because we have such young kids.
Yeah.
But do you think at some point parents don't really know who to be after their kids get a certain age?
That's a really good question, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think you can fall into a trap of tying so much of your identity to your kids, especially when they start doing things that you are passionate about too, like sports. Like when my daughter gets into whatever she wants to do, like, or daughters, I got to use to daughters, get into whatever they want to do. Like, dude, I'm going to support so fully. Like, I can't wait to just fuel whatever they're passionate about. That being said, if it happens to be fitness or something related to what I love, like, it's going to be tough to not, like, have like that transition of the torch and just want to have a lot of my identity in being a father of them. But I can't remember your question actually now.
It's fine. Are you going to leave the hose unraveled on them?
Oh, I'm going to do some stuff.
You're going to
like
do that one? Yeah.
Not maybe that, especially being girls, they're a little more fragile. I'll probably do it slightly different, but I'll use the lessons that I learned and that I was taught. Like I told him he should write a book. Like, he's got so many good stories, so many better stories than I do too. But he's got so many good stories and so many good lessons. And one of his lessons that I would like, should be a book, but maybe I'll end up writing it. Who knows? But is get others involved in good works. And what that means is, and it actually is also playing off of one of my favorite quotes of all time. And that is that when a leader accomplishes a task, the people say, look what we did. Mm-hmm. And so it's basically taking something that maybe you could do on your own, or even would better or faster on your own, and getting other people involved in it if it's something that's good and brings joy and love and light to somebody else. And this was really strong in the example. My dad got us up early, me and 2 of my friends, we were having a sleepover on a Saturday morning, or maybe it was Sunday. But anyways, he got us up and he was like, boys, we're doing some work today. And we didn't know what to do, right? Like, none of us were expecting it. And we ended up building a wooden memorial of, it was like I forget what it's called now, man, but it's like to hold body armor, a helmet and a gun. And it's like a cross, 2 different crosses, but we built it for my dad's friend who had just lost his son, overseas. His son was like 20 something years old. Like he was just so proud of him, and he was just fighting for his country, man. And he lost his life. And so we built that for his dad, and he still has it to this day. And it's something he cherishes. And so obviously he never asked my dad to do that, but my dad got us involved in that. And now that's something that I will always have, of how I brought like love and life to someone in a really dark time. So that's something that's like,
I think you probably got more out of it than he did.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yeah.
Thanks,
and my
Dad.
2 friends who had no idea that was what was going on.
It's just such an impactful thing.
Yeah. And we didn't know what we were building at the time. It wasn't, we built it, and then he told us what it's for. And then he sent a picture of when that guy put it in his son's room.
So what are you building now? What are you working on? What's got the gears going for you? What keeps you busy?
Definitely, dude, primarily it's being the greatest husband and father I can be. I know it's redundant, man, but like it really is.
I mean, if it matters to you, it's what matters to you.
It's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important. We need to raise some good kids out here, man, because they're the future. So that's the number one. And then number 2 would be, continuing to work on the business, because it's something that, the reason I love doing what I do, is because I'm changing people's lives, man. Like I'm working with, typically men in their 40s and 50s who just realize that they need to make a change in their life, right? Like they have prioritized their family, their career, and they're realizing now, like looking out at the gut, or they're seeing themselves in the mirror and they don't even recognize themselves. And they're like, man, something needs to change. I don't even know who I am anymore. And so I get to teach them healthy habits, ways that they can still live their life. They don't have to be me, right? They don't have to make all the changes that I did or what I do. But they can live their life and do it in a way that's more sustainable and gives them more confidence, because they're able to have more energy, lose their gut, know that they can lift a certain amount of weight. Like there's like, as a man, like knowing that you can move some weight just feels good, And so, yeah. And most importantly, like I'm helping to keep them there longer for their kids. That's what really matters.
Yeah. You're stretching the longevity.
Yeah.
Just building inside of each other. I love that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Where can someone find all of that? Where can people find you?
I'm kind of on all the not on all of them. I shouldn't say that, Instagram, Facebook. Right. But I've actually been more active on LinkedIn lately.
Nice.
I like LinkedIn because, it's a more professional atmosphere. I feel like, I don't have to worry about scrolling and hitting something that I don't want my eyes to see. It's just a more professional environment, in my opinion. So I've been more active on that. And then also YouTube. I haven't done a video quite lately, but I know that's
I
also
love your videos.
Thanks.
They're actually cool to watch.
I try to
They're
make
intimidating too. It can be.
easy.
I'm like, oh my God, this guy's really getting it.
it shouldn't be too intimidating.
That's good.
Well, it depends on which one you're talking about, actually.
But just any of it. I've seen the ones of you talking mainly too, the interviews and stuff, and you're talking about how to be better, how to do better. Not even just the lifting stuff, but mental lifting, which is a totally different topic.
Dude, it's everything. Health is involved in, I really break it down into 4 different pillars. You have your mindset, you have your movement, so including exercise, you have nutrition, self-explanatory, and then you have recovery. And if you are able to improve any one of those, it kind of improves all of them. And if you're able to, do that gradually, make it something easy and simple that you can do. Like for example, drinking more water. It's like really simple one, right? Or having a certain amount of protein a day is something that maybe someone would say that's not very much or that's not enough. And it's like, yeah, but if it's more than you were doing previously, then that's a win.
Yep. Small wins,
so it's
small victories.
So it's building on those habits slowly but surely. And dude, like it's crazy the amount of change you can make in 6 months if you just decide to, because it comes with the decision first. Once you make a decision, that is what I'm going to do. then you build an environment to make yourself successful, you will be successful. But it starts with the decision.
I can't think of a better way to put a bookend on that than that right there. Start with the decision.
Yeah, man.
That's great. Well, brother, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
We got to do this more often. We got to do this again.
Let's do it, Cameron. I'll work out first though, right?
No. Maybe. All right.
All right.
Definitely we'll make the decision to drink more water for you.
I love it.
Work on that.
Let's start on that.
I'm kidding. I absolutely would love to work out with you and hang out. Got to go back to the house. We got to hang out with the families and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Number
cool,
one
man.
priority. Our first ministry.
This is, just to pause for a second. This is the first episode, the first show. You're the first guest.
Yeah.
And I could not be more honored that you're here, man. I just really thank you for doing this.
Dude, thank you. Yeah.
It's been an absolute blast.
It's been a privilege.
We decided we want to get you something.
Oh, thanks.
It's starting out, and you're the first guest, and hopefully we're going to have some other things as well. But since we're at Black Rifle Coffee, and I want to give a humongous shout out to LJ.
Yeah.
And Black Rifle Coffee here in Woodstock. Extremely hospitable and the absolute most gracious hosts. This has been really, really great. And I hope that you're a hat guy.
I like hats, man. I like hats. Thank
We can
you.
do that
I love
for
it,
you, man.
dude. Hey, you weren't expecting this, but I actually have a gift for you.
What?
Yeah. I brought you. Hopefully it fits my company's t-shirt.
Oh,
so
bomb.
Proven Health.
Oh, man.
You've been through a workout now, so
I've
you're
earned
allowed.
it?
You're allowed to wear it.
I've earned it. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I got that for you. I had
Oh,
it,
man.
I had it when we were working out. I was like, I'm gonna give that to him.
I really appreciate this, dude.
Yeah, man. They're comfy shirts too.
I am a
They're
t-shirt
nice.
man. I'll be honest with you.
Nice.
It's funny because I'm normally, I give you the hat and you give me the t-shirt. We just got the whole thing wrapped up.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome to have you,
enjoy it.
brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow.
So sitting here listening to you and your story and stuff like that, you really seem like the true all-American guy. Who humbles you? Who keeps you grounded?
Oh man, that's
Is
such
it
a
the
good
girls?
question.
I mean, you love your girls, but
love my girls.
something you truly do come across as the all-American. Something's got to keep you grounded.
Thank you. Man, that's such a good question. I think it's knowing. I think it's knowing that I can always do better and be better. And a large part of why I do the exercise, why I am so intentional about my actions, because I'm always trying to become 1% better than I am currently. And I really thank you for saying that, because, and maybe this goes into a deeper answer. When I was younger, I was seen as the like bragger, or like the very bragocious kid. I was very obnoxious. And I lived that for a little bit, and I don't remember who called me out on it, but someone called me out on it. I started reading up a little bit more on like leaders and like what makes a great leader. And one of the things that I learned was listening more than you speak. And so there's another one of the beliefs that I hold, and that is that, and it's a quote, I'm stealing it, but everyone that I come in contact with is my superior in something, and in that I will learn of them. And so just holding onto that belief wherever I go, I think is what keeps me humble. Thank you for the question.
Good question. Nice. Killing it. That was good.
First of all, thank you very much. Like there's so many different questions I could have, but if I could have one, because it relates a lot to where I am at in my life, is I know I can see like the passion you have behind the business that you're building, but you also talk about, your girls being what's most important. My wife and I have been married 5 years. We have a 16-month-old daughter, and I'm a small business owner, and I'm a lot of passion, a lot of purpose behind what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How do you show them that they're most important with actions rather than just words? Because I can tell my girls all day long.
Yeah.
But it's the action that speaks louder than the words. So like how do you show them through actually how you live it out rather than just what you vocalize to them?
Yeah. For me, it's all about intentionality, making sure that, so like sometimes I'll be working, there's sometimes where I'll be working and I'll be, Papa, they call me Papa. I love that name. Papa, eat this orange or whatever, it's just a little toy orange, or Papa, do you want soup or whatever it may be. And there is times where I'll say, baby, I love you. I'm working. And then like my wife will also be there. Like it's a partnership, man. She'll be there to, kind of be that barrier. But there's also times where I'll be working and she'll come up to me with whatever. And like, I give her all my attention. I give her all my attention for a short little bit. Sometimes it's a long little bit. Sometimes she just wants to sit on me while I work. And it's finding how you can make it work and just always knowing that she's going to see you. It was your boy or girl? I forgot you said girl. She's going to see you as her hero. No, like you could be, no matter what you do, you can be a plumber, you could be an Air Force pilot, you can be the greatest rock star. No matter what you do, you're going to be her hero, and making sure that she knows she never has to do anything to deserve your love and deserve your attention, that she gets it freely and she gets it often.
Yeah, man, it's like, I hear that answer and it's the same relationship that we have with our Heavenly Father. It's like, there's nothing we do to earn that, right? But it's a free gift that's given to us, and it's echoed through that answer. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice one, man. Yeah, that was a good one. Good one.
Anyone else? We'll take one more.
Again, thanks so much for sharing. Very inspirational. I have a question that's probably a little bit more particular regarding fitness, pursuit of fitness, and it's somewhat kind of abstract, but it's more fitness directed. So I'd like to get your thoughts on how to get from a place where you're using kind of external factors, you might say, to motivate you to where it's just a lifestyle. My particular example would be like, I'm proud of what I've done in fitness with ultra marathon running, with 300 mile ultra belt buckles. I'm happy about that, but I found I always utilize kind of like having to sign up for a race, pay a few $100s, and they go out and tell everybody what I signed up for, to motivate me. I'm finding like, okay, what if you haven't signed up for anything? There's no competition on the horizon. How do you just in plain life with no real particular goal or kind of like standard out there, just integrate it to where, weekly, daily, it's just a part of who you are?
Yeah. So
good question.
I think this would probably be a longer conversation because I have a lot of clarifying questions to ask you. But maybe I could hopefully just do it with one. Why do you run? Why do you do it in the first place?
If I was to take that as a direct question right now, I'd say primarily, and this is kind of transparent, but I think it's all right in this context to share. I lost my dad of a sudden heart attack when I was 12 years old. He was age 49. And that was obviously a strong motivator for me as, getting into my mid 40s, having an unhealthy lifestyle. I sort of said, I don't want that to happen. What happened to my dad, to myself or my family. I promised myself I was going to run my first marathon, standard 26.2, by the time I was 49. Ran 2 marathons that year. So it's been all about trying to kind of reverse, the family history and make sure that I wasn't a victim of heart disease. So, I feel I accomplished that. But I always had to push for the higher goals. I always needed like something on the calendar. But now I'm like, okay, after 3 belt buckles, I have nothing left to prove to myself about, can I do it? So I just want to be able to cruise for the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That helps to understand. First of all, I want to, congrats. That's awesome. I haven't even done that. so that's awesome. I would say there's nothing wrong with using those external motivators to help. And like you could do that forever, right? But if because you really could do the next thing and the next thing, you can always use that. And if it works, then I say you should do it. But primarily you want to find a way that you can enjoy what you're doing. So some people it is running. It sounds like that might be true for you, right? If you can go out and you enjoy running, then just make that part of your routine like you already have. But if you don't enjoy running, then you should find something active that you enjoy doing, because it's really hard to every single day go get up and do something that you don't love to do. And that's where you need that external motivation for it. But if you enjoy what you're doing, do it because you enjoy it. And then the consequence of that is, you're healthier and you feel better and all those things. That's the main reason that I do fitness, whether it be CrossFit or whatever, is because I really enjoy it while I'm doing it. Especially if I have somebody else there with me. Like, it's like I was saying earlier with my cousin, like, it's what we love doing. So find something that you love. For some people it's boxing, some people it's dance, some people it's Pilates, whatever it may be. And then do that. So as far as like an internal motivator though, sticking to that, like why you started, because you don't want to, you want to maintain your healthy lifestyle that you've got, and not end up dying too earlier. Like you said, your father did.
Yeah. You might be finding a new adventure. Well, guys, thank you so much. I think we got the questions. Got everybody? Awesome. And I just wanted to, first off, thank you, Neil. This has been awesome,
Thank
man.
you, Cameron.
This has been really cool.
Yeah,
especially
I've
when you're
enjoyed
answering
it.
the questions. I'm like, this cat knows his stuff. Definitely find this guy on LinkedIn. So thank you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. This has been absolutely incredible. And I'm going to stick around for a little while too. If you guys want to talk, hang out, ask questions off camera and stuff like that too. So I just really, really thank you guys for hanging out with us and sticking in here. It's been a good time. So Neil, you got anything, buddy?
No, thanks everybody so much.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
All right.